I have the Holy Rollers. It was led by Edmund Creffeild. He was born in Germany, either 1870 or 1873. I found both dates. But he died in 1906. He came over to America and started working in Oregon for the Salvation Army. The Salvation Army wasn't religious enough, like they weren't doing enough, and the Holy Ghost visited him and revealed a new doctrine to him, and that he was to preach this new doctrine.
Oh, great.
So he moved to Corvallis, Oregon. Kind of didn't start his own church, but started like recycling the Salvation Army's hymns and sermons and stuff, and he got quite a following just with the Salvation Army's material. And then once he got his own following, he started to get like a little kooky and a little, once he got his followers on board, then he started to get a little weird.
That's how it always happens.
Right? You gotta get them in.
You gotta get them in first.
Once he had a steady following, he switched it up. He told his followers that they can... Oh, he didn't want to be one of those cult leaders that are like, I'm the only one that can talk to God. So he told his congregation, I guess, for lack of a better word, you can talk to God too. And once you get to be able to talk to God, your name will go on this holy scroll up in heaven, and once your name's on that, you can go to heaven. So, back to it. They can also achieve this connection, and once you achieve that connection, your name will be put on a holy scroll, a holy roll in heaven, but it's limited space. Not just everybody
Is it like first
can
come,
go.
first serve, or like how do you do that?
I think it's just whoever he wants.
Okay.
Okay, so in one of the meetings, they prayed for hours. Edmund said he can solve all things with laying hands on you. He can just lay his hands on you and solve all things. He encouraged his followers.
You are mentally stable.
I'm thinking more like a fist fight.
I was gonna say, are you okay? Did that hurt?
My arm burns.
I know, right? I need Edmund. God.
You said with a fist fight.
Yeah.
Come here.
Put my hands on you, we're gonna solve these problems.
Right? Throw hands. No.
I love that.
He encouraged his followers to beg for their sins to be washed away. Okay, so in one meeting, they prayed for hours. Edmund said you can solve all things. He can solve all things laying his hands on you. He encouraged followers to beg for their sins to be washed away. People began rolling around on the floor, wailing for hours, crying, sobbing. Hallelujah.
Like being really dramatic.
Yeah, banging their head on the floor for 12 hours a day, just steady, strong. And I mean, this is multiple followers too. So there's two major families aside from Edmund that are kind of come into play. I literally had to make a family tree to get it because it's kind of weird. But they banged heads, they clapped, they prayed for 12 hours later. He heard God made it into they heard God's voice finally after 12 hours of praying, rolling, clapping, screaming, crying. They heard God.
And don't look behind the curtain. This is God.
And so they made it to the holy roll. So his followers were born. They were now the holy rollers because they made it to the roll. So they're going
like
to
a roller
heaven.
skating group.
Right.
Oh my God. Roller derby. We are the
Let's
holy
be the
rollers.
holy rollers. Yes.
We'll lay hands on you. Tagline.
Ladies' hands, yeah. His meetings would get really big and out of control. The neighbors all hated him. He eventually got banned from holding them in the city, got kicked out of the city. He was 5'6", and he only weighed 135 pounds.
I like that's written up there like a newborn.
Yeah, like he was just a cute little guy, you know? Let's see. Okay, so after they got kicked out of the city, God told Edmund that he had to hold his services out on this island, okay? It was 3 miles outside of the city.
Epstein Island?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of.
What was it?
It was like Epstein Island.
No, this is in Oregon. You guys, Oregon. Wrong part of the country.
Sorry.
The guys.
Creepy white guy, though, so.
Creepy Island.
Kind of got that in common. God told Edmund that he's going to start his services on Craigor Island. outside of the city. He told his followers to bring friends and family so
Yes.
all their souls can be saved. And I'm thinking, if there's a limited number, why are you inviting people? Like, don't.
Right.
Like, invite your friends and family to this pizza party.
Yeah.
I mean,
It was
soul cleansing, whatever it is.
at this time he went by Joseph. So he's no longer Edmund, he's Joseph. I'm still going to call him Edmund.
Okay.
Because he changes his name again later to become another prophet. Okay. So at least 12 hours a day were spent rolling, and that's considered a light day. Like, they would go 24 hours strong, no problem. Physically and mentally exhausted. Okay, so none of them had jobs.
I was just going to ask, like, how are they supporting themselves?
Okay, so there is a family called the Hurt family, and OV is the father of the Hurt family, and we're going to get into that later, and he will financially supply some people, but
So he's financially.
Oh my God, he's the sugar daddy of
they
the
are...
cult.
They live next to a peach orchard where they steal peaches and eat peaches all day. They are weak. They cannot do work because they're...
Delusional.
Yes, they're malnutrition because they're only eating peaches and whatever they find. Fish, things like that.
Surviving.
And he got another message from God to build a tabernacle. Well, one of his...
A what?
A tabernacle.
Yeah, I have to roll over that.
Tabernacle. You never heard of a tabernacle?
No,
It's a
no.
church. It's a church.
Oh.
That's all it is. It's a church.
I like tabernacle.
Yeah.
So cute.
You like church?
No, I like the word tabernacle.
I'm just kidding.
Okay.
Church? Tabernacle? Yes.
Tabernacle. It's a good funny word, you know?
That's something be like, I want to go to that. And then you get there going, oh, shit.
But I don't want to be here.
It's church.
Sounds like a food I felt.
Right? Like, I thought we were going out to eat, guys.
Where's my tabernacle?
Where's the menu at this tabernacle? This menu has music notes on it.
Why are we singing? We're supposed to be eating tabernacles.
Yeah, right?
No, we
All right.
get peaches.
Right? Peaches. And all I could think of was, peaches come from a can. And I just kept singing that the whole time because I just thought, I would love to live next to a peach orchard.
I would also. But I have no idea what you're singing right
It's the
there.
presidents of the United States. You never heard of the song Peaches?
No.
Good, because you're young. Don't look it up. Okay, so the Hurt family and the Mitchell family are both big families in this that will be a part. The Hurt family, yes. Okay, so there's O.V. Hurt and Sarah Hurt, mom and dad. They have 4 kids, 2 girls, 2 boys. The youngest boy is adopted. Doesn't matter. That's irrelevant, but whatever. So... Maud, which is one of the daughters of the Hurt family, was engaged to a guy named James Barry. James Barry had loaned Edmund,
I went to school with a James Berry. Continue.
Reincarnation.
right? James Barry had already given Edmund a loan to build a tabernacle. And then so he went out there to visit Maud out on the island because he knew that they moved out at the island. And they were like, oh, God told us that we need to build a tabernacle. And he was like, oh, right on, build your tabernacle. And they're like, well, we need money. And he was like, you already owe me money. And Edmund was like, oh, see, God forgave that loan. I don't actually owe you that money anymore.
God can forgive
God can
loans?
forgive loans without even telling you. Okay?
Oh my God.
No.
Can you forgive my student loan?
Right? So,
He might.
give it a couple more years, he might.
After I pay it off.
So, he said, no, you're not getting any more money from me. And so Maud said, nope, we're not getting married then. So, she called off the engagement, and that was it. They canceled the marriage.
Wow.
Yeah.
Some blackmail.
He would have private prayer sessions in his tent where all the women would go in, and then at the end, nobody knows what happened on the inside, but when they would come out, they would be all over him, kissing him, and just all over him. They would embrace and kiss him. This made a lot of men leave the group because their wives and their children were going in these tents, but they were not allowed.
Jesus.
Okay, but the rumors, so the group, only 3 men stayed. Frank Hurt, which will come up later, Lee Campbell, and Samson Levins. Okay, rumors of the orgies started to spread through town. The Salvation Army tried to send somebody to investigate the situation, but then he went out there and he became a holy roller. so
That's
that
one
didn't
way
work.
to get somebody on your side. You know what? You're going to be a holy roller.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so that
literally.
didn't work. He came under Edmund's spell too. But
Was he
now,
in the orgies?
no, none of the men were. Just
Okay,
Edmund.
just Edmund.
Yeah, but like mothers and children, everything all in the same group. Okay. Without money to build a tabernacle now, there was going to be rain coming and the island was going to be flooded because it is out, in the ocean. They had to think fast. That's when the women of the Hurt family invited them to their house. Hey, we live just outside of town. You can come. And so they all moved down to the Hurt house. O.V. Hurt was the dad, and he wasn't a follower at first. Thought he was crazy, whatever. But he wanted to keep his family, he wanted to keep an eye on his family, and all of them were holy rollers. So except for the youngest son. But, so he let them all move in, and then he was shunned by the holy rollers. They kept calling him the Black Devil. And then he quit his job and joined the rollers because he got shunned so bad. And then that night they had a fire in their front yard. They burned all of their earthly possessions. They burned everything they could. They threw a cat and a dog in the fire.
Oh, no.
There was rumors that they threw a little baby in the fire, but they didn't throw her in the fire. But it was a rumor that they threw her in the fire. I forget her name, but she comes out
But
later.
I just see like a crowd going, yeah, and somebody just tosses a cat. Like, that's a little
Well,
too
then
far.
the townspeople came the next day because they heard about this. They could see it. It went on over 24 hours. Townspeople came, about 2,000 of them, and they showed up at the Hurt's house. And some of the townspeople were taking the women and girls that were their family members out, not letting them participate anymore. And they started breaking the windows with rocks. Police then detained Edmund and Brooks and gave them sanity tests, which they both were declared sane.
I want a sanity test.
But then they left town. I don't want to find out what's wrong.
I just want to know if I'm insane or not.
Well, you know that. You know the answer to that. Okay, so, but he left town for a couple of days. He came back a few days later to the Hurt house. James Berry, the fiance of Ovi's daughter, convinced Ovi to come to Portland with him because they were in business together. Barry owned a bike shop. Ovi goes there, spends a week thinking about it, and was like, Edmund's fucking crazy. Goes back home, kicks him out of the house, says, you're crazy, get out of my house. So Ovi's son, Frank, and his fiance are still holy rollers. They rent a house, so then the holy rollers go to their house. So they can still have this group that continues to, have orgies. And it's crazy. Esther Mitchell. She was part of the Mitchell family. I mentioned them earlier. She's Frank Hurt's sister. She was one of the younger holy rollers. And around this time, Edmund was telling people that he was going to... he could make people virgins again. The Holy Mother is going to be a virgin, but that shouldn't be a problem for any of the women because he can make you a virgin again. But he had his eye on Esther because she was a real virgin and she was young, so they wanted her. Well, Esther's older sister, I think, caught wind of this, took her to the Boys and Girls Aid in a home because their parent, I forget what happened to.
Who would want to be a virgin again?
Ew, not
People
me.
who want to go to heaven.
That's true.
Okay, so Esther wasn't happy that she was sent away, and she spent hours rolling on the floor, wailing, crying, shouting hallelujah. Around this time, there were rumors of a photo that of the island of Edmund naked and of the ladies naked out doing their little orgy things. And then Whitecaps came, which was, somehow a play on the KKK, like Whitecaps. I don't know. They were original KKKs, something like that. I'm not sure. Well, Whitecaps came with other vigilantes. They stormed Frank Hurt's house, abducted Edmund and Brooks and 2 other men, tarred them, feathered them, and chased them out of town. Said they
Tar and feathering doesn't happen anymore.
No, it should though. But said that they would lynch him if they returned. Edmund came back the next day, married Maud, and helped Frank clean up the house. He still smelled like tar when they got married. The Whitecaps were mad and told Frank that they would tar him too. So then Edmund skipped town because he didn't have a place to stay anymore. Skipped town. Maud went back to live with her parents, and she said she was done with Edmund. He went to Portland. He went to Portland to get the little virgin girl. And he also sent 2 other people there to try to get her, but that's another story. So Burgess Starr tells everyone his wife and Edmund had sexual relations, which is illegal. So he left the group back on the island 2 years previously, but you can get 2 years in prison for adultery. Donna, his wife, signed a statement saying that they did have sex and a warrant was issued for Edmund's arrest. He was nowhere to be found. OV came forward and said baby Martha did almost get thrown in the fire that day.
Baby Martha.
Yeah, baby Martha almost got thrown in the fire that day, but since some people protested and wouldn't let them, they shunned her after that. But once again, this is OV's testimony, and I think a lot of it is embellished because he's trying to make Edmund seem worse than what he is because he's sleeping with his whole fucking family. So, most of the group then was institutionalized. They got him out of there, got him institutionalized. Maud went to Salem with her siblings. Sarah, which is Maud's mom, was at the house, and she was literally kicking and screaming when they took her out of the house. And for months it was quiet. Everybody thought it had died down. The problem was gone. Mm-hmm. Well, then the littlest Hunt boy was out looking for worms and found Edmund under their house where he was living. Where Sarah was feeding him. When OV would go to work, they would bring Edmund in the house, have bigger, better orgies than before. And then when she got institutionalized, she was kicking and screaming because she couldn't feed him anymore. And then he was wasting away to death down there.
Can you just imagine somebody's just living under your house?
And could you imagine getting found by like a little boy looking for fucking worms?
Literally.
Sarah was sneaking food, blah, blah, blah. Oh, now Edmund's Elijah. He's the prophet Elijah.
Okay. Name change.
Yeah, he went on trial for adultery. They wanted to keep it short and sweet to keep the women from embarrassment. So it went real fast. They shut it down, and then he married Maud. And said Esther was to be the Holy Mother because she was a virgin.
I hate that name.
She served. Esther. Maud
Something wrong with
name,
Esther. Have you seen The Orphan?
What's her name? Esther in the word?
Yes.
I haven't seen it.
Yes, have to watch
Esther
it.
Prynne.
Orphan's based on a game, though, right?
I don't think so.
Oh man, crazy. All right, he served 17 months for adultery, and in 1905 he was out again and getting his group together.
Just keeps going.
Everyone has been released from the institutions at this point. Maud was made. She was forced to divorce him while she was in the institution. As soon as she got out, she married him again. At one point, he was angry about bad press, and he started to say that he was going to smite cities. San Francisco was one of the cities he smites. San Francisco, Portland, whatever town he was at again, and then San Francisco. Well, San Francisco then had the big earthquake of San Francisco in 1906, so he got credit. So then all of his followers were like, oh yeah, he told you he's going to do it, and then it happened. He was planning on making a new base up north. Lewis Hartley was the father of 2 of the brides of Christ. That's what he called his followers, the brides of Christ. They were the brides of Christ. The dad walked up to Edmund point blank and pulled out a gun, shot him in the head, except for bullets didn't go anywhere. The guy who sold him the gun thought he was going to do something stupid, sold him the wrong bullets. So then that doubled down on how fucking awesome Edmund was to the group. He cannot be killed. So it's a miracle. So
that's one thing you could definitely be like, look,
yeah,
they tried to kill me.
They tried.
And I'm still here.
So Edmund went to Seattle to meet Maud. While the followers were by the sea awaiting word, they were eating fish and just making it. Esther Mitchell was back in Oregon. Everybody thought that she was normal again. She worked jobs. She had everything right. She was so devoted to him still. She's the Holy Mother. So then George Mitchell, which is Esther and Donna's brother. There's so many people in this. George Mitchell, which is Esther and Donna's brother, got word from God too. So he walked up to Edmund and shot him in the head right there. Fell down dead right there, right next to Maud. Maud started losing it at first, and then she realizes you can't kill him. So she calms the fuck down. So she's really angry at first, but then she calms down because she can't kill him. He's a prophet. So he died, and he was fucking 33 years old, which is the same age Jesus was when he died, which, further fucking made his... Maud went to the cemetery when she thought he was going to come back. Like, she was,
I was going to say, like, is she just waiting for him to, like, pop up like a Michael Myers type of thing? Or is it, like...
Yeah, she was thinking...
Kind of like the girls at the polygamy cult, where they're waiting for him to just, like, oh, he's not dead.
Yeah, he's not dead, yeah. So at first she was shocked, The gun went off, which I'm sure was a surprise.
Yeah.
So then George went to trial and pled insanity due to witnessing the vile and perverted things Edmund did to his mother and sister. When he was trapped under the house... Oh, never mind, that was old.
What did he do when he was trapped under the house?
He would leave and have bigger orgies than before. Sarah, OV's wife, had sex in front of the kids and other members as well, and OV made testimony of that too. So in 20 minutes, the jury came back and found George not guilty. Esther Mitchell walked up to George at the Union Depot Railway and shot him point blank range right there in the face, where he laid down dead. Maud Hurt supplied the gun while figuring out what to do with the women, because it was happening in Washington and Oregon, and they didn't know where to prosecute. Mm-hmm. So they sent them to a jail to wait. And then Maud took strychnine, and she died. And Esther went to live in Washington for 2 years at a state hospital. Once she was out, she married James Barry.
Fucking James.
Who was engaged to her sister and married her other sister. Now married her. And... on August 2nd, she killed herself from strychnine.
Jesus.
Yeah, so she killed herself too. Same way Maud did.
Holy cow.
But yeah, they said he had a 13-inch penis, so I was like, no wonder all these women are having these orgies.
Yeah, holy shit.
Why? You guys see that?
Hold on,
TikTok
let me show you
with
his. Let me show you his
I don't want to see
mugshot.
his penis.
Ew. I don't want to see his penis. And once you see his face, you'll be like, I don't want to see his penis.
Oh, yeah, I want to see what it looks like. Oh, what the fuck is that? It looks like
It's a scary picture.
You want to see this? It's so...
Go.
Ooh, he's so creepy.
Oh my god.
He
Why
had women
would
in...
he get the 13-inch penis?
He's like his whole leg. He's only 5'6". But yeah, there's only like a few books on him. I couldn't find much, but
Ooh, he looks...
he
Like
posed
he's on
for that
drugs.
picture. He posed for that picture.
I wouldn't follow anybody that looked like that.
Right?
He looks nuts.
He's terrifying.
Yeah.
That's actually crazy.
That's crazy.
That was my second cult.
So anybody learned anything yet?
Yeah, cults are fucked up.
Don't burn cats and dogs. Just don't.
That's wrong.
It would be so easy
You're
for us
immediately
to,
going to hell.
It's so easy for us to start a cult. Like, people are gonna believe anything. You just gotta
you
lure
know,
them in with something.
People just like the idea.
people just
of being a
want
part
to
of something.
fit. Yeah.
We hear
That's
you,
why
your
church-
family.
Yeah. When you're here, your family.
When you...
Where is that? What is
Olive Garden.
God damn it. Olive
But
Garden.
wait, who was it that bought it and gave it to Post Malone? So now Post Malone owns the saying, when you're here, your
That
family.
is so stupid.
And Olive Garden doesn't have a slogan now, right?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
Nobody delivers Olive Garden. I've been thinking about it every day.
I love lasagna fritas.
I just think about their lasagna brownie.
What?
Bro, when I worked there, I got to test all the food and all the desserts, and there is a lasagna, but it's a brownie and it has a bunch of layers. It's the best thing.
That sounds delicious.
I would get it delivered to my
Guys,
house
we
every
have
single
like
night.
a bunch of ice cream we could eat. Too.
Perfect timing.
We got
5 more podcasts to freaking do, huh?
2 more cults to talk about.
Mine's gonna be very short. You might have to stick mine together. I feel like I was very brief.
There was no way I could shorten these.
Look at that.
Rich and thick.
Is it chocolate?
Yeah, it's brownies
brownie.
and I don't know what. I think it's
You said
cheesecake.
lasagna.
I was gonna say, is that cheese?
I'm thinking like
Cheesecake.
I'm thinking about like
lasagna, like pasta noodles.
She
Oh.
said chocolate lasagna.
So when somebody says dessert pizza, do you think pepperoni and cheese?
I think of a pizza like I want it to be a physical pizza.